Well, you see the signs telling you to merge, lanes are closed, and that cones are up, but drivers aren't always paying close attention to work zones. And that is how, unfortunately, accidents happen.
Yeah, case in point, yesterday, a state trooper guarding a construction site on I-91 in Meriden was hurt when a car rear-ended into his cruiser. Now, although the damage looks pretty bad, fortunately, neither the trooper or the driver were seriously hurt. However, 3 people are killed every day in a construction zone across the country. But this morning, DOT workers are here to tell us how a new campaign can help save lives. Terry Thompson and Rick Denardi are here. Thanks so much. And tell us about this new campaign that you guys started, Obey the Orange. Tell us about that.
We're very excited about it. We're trying to get people to understand and associate the orange color with work zones. So we thought this was a good way to do it. It's so important, and as you can see, everyone that's driving every single day, speeding. And unless you are out there physically on the road with 65-mile-an-hour cars going by, you really can't appreciate the hazards that are occurring out there for our workers.
How are you trying to get the word out? And you have these orange bands, honor all DOT workers, obey the orange. Are you giving these out at other various locations?
We are actually producing some more. These bands originally came from the Friends of Dan Denardi. They produced these bands in memory of Dan Denardi, who was killed earlier this year. His brother Rick Denardi is here with me. And we figured that the public outreach is so important. The kids, we do a poster contest now every year, and the kids come up with some fantastic messages. And that's where it really needs to start, is grassroots.
Do you feel a lot of times people going through these construction zones get distracted? You know, there's slower traffic, maybe they pick up their phone, maybe they're changing something, a setting in the vehicle, and they kind of zone out when they're in these zones.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They do zone out. Rick's been out on, and that's why I brought him. He's out on the road a lot during all these operations, especially at night. Maybe you can relate some of your...
It's something we watch for. When we put up the sign pattern, we notice how many. There's not much we can do for enforcement from our point of view, but we notice how many people are still on the phone or texting or completely distracted doing something other than paying attention to us.
Sometimes people are frustrated, you know, they're getting into a bottleneck, it's going in, but when patterns are set up, they're set up in a way to safely merge everybody into a way if a road is going from 3 lanes to 1, and set up in a pattern too where maybe the roadway is a little bit more narrow, and so people really need to pay attention through those areas.
Right, and we've actually, there's been significant changes since, I guess, 95 is when things really changed, when there was a new law about fines and work zones and things like that, and there have been new laws that have been enacted over the years, but the important thing is like you said, people complain about how many signs we put out, and they say, why you got so many signs out? It takes me, you know, 2 miles just to get to where you're working. Because of people not paying attention, so you always have to double everything, and even when you double everything, they are still waiting for that absolute last minute to get in, and that's a very scary event for us, because if for some reason they have to go off, like happened to the trooper and has happened to a couple of workers, you know, you have no protection except a plastic cone or a car, and if you make a really bad move and come into our work area, we really don't have a lot of places to go.
Right, and despite all the warning signs, the statistics are shocking still. 3 workers killed every day across the country.
Correct. And it's not just workers. I think the motorists have to understand a lot of it is motorists that get killed too. So it's a 2-pronged thing that we're trying to do. We're trying to explain to motorists, you absolutely need to slow down. I don't think there is a person that goes the speed limit nowadays. So you add in a couple of more dynamics. We do a lot of night work on interstates because the traffic volumes are just too much for us to do during the day.
Do you also have more in the summertime too?
Yes.
Yeah, is that more with the extended daylight hours?
Correct. Yeah, and at night we do a lot more. So now you're getting the commuter traffic, but you're also getting the travelers that are traveling at the different hours, and maybe they're from out of state, they're not really familiar. So we try to keep our patterns very similar nationally. We have a standard that we follow. So we follow that national standard and then enhance it for the state for our particular things.
It's really important if people just take a moment, check themselves, stop texting, stop talking on the phone.
Distraction.
And also think about what the perspective of the person who is out there on the roads with cars whizzing by them at 60, 70 or more miles per hour.
You're absolutely right. It would be great if we could take people and physically stand them on the side of the road as a worker, and so they could really appreciate what we go through.
Just a quick mention, I know that on the Connecticut Department of Transportation website, you do list the construction. So if people are heading out, they are going on a trip, they can see where some of those work zones are on their way and plan accordingly, add in that extra time for their travels. And where can people get all the...
You can contact me. We have an email address, and it's dot.ctworkzone@ct.gov. But we also are now social media. So
That's right, you're on Twitter.
We're on Twitter as Obey the Orange, and we also are on Facebook. So you can go to those sites too, even if you're just twittering about what's going on and
not while driving.
Not while driving, correct.
Terry, Rick, thanks so much for being
both.
with us. Of course, reminder here, Obey the Orange.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And so much more ahead on Fox Connecticut's Morning Extra, including our Pet of the Week.
That's right, but first we are cruising with our AAA travel agent. Find out